My sweet daddy went to our real home on December 2nd, 2020 at 6:55 p.m. Eastern Time. I won't say he died, not out of any sense of religious correctness, but simply because I do not believe he died. He has not ceased to exist. He merely passed from one kind of life to another, an infinitely better one, the one that he was ultimately created for. When I arrived at Mom and Dad's house the night before he passed, there was a blanket of new fallen snow on the ground. Dad always said deer hunting, his life's passion, was easier in the snow. Easier to see them, easier to track them. He didn't much enjoy doing chores in the snow, though, as I recall. That evening, though, I found Dad on a different trek. As I stayed up with him that night, I watched some TV. I found some busy work to do around the house, but mostly I sat and looked at my daddy, that beautiful, strong, loving man I have loved my whole life. His strong, distinctive nose, his enormous hands that, in my memory, were so strong and capable, now bony but still massive in their frailty. I thought about his big old heart, roughly twice the size of a normal heart due to all the increased workload from a congenital defect. I thought much about his hands and his heart. Not only were they physically large, but they also possessed a figurative largesse in the way he loved and had compassion for animals and for the people that he loved, and the way that he used those lovely hands to work hard for his land, his animals, and his people. His heart was imperfect in its design, and his love was sometimes imperfect in its humanness. But he kept on loving anyway, just as his injured heart just kept right on beating, decades past what medical science believed that it could. I thanked God for that precious man, for allowing me to have Theron Blaine Dennison Sr. as my daddy, and for all the love that flowed between the two of us all throughout my life. That night, as I took care of his physical needs, I said, "I love you so much, Daddy." He tried to reply verbally, but couldn't quite get it out. He half rolled his eyes the way he always did when he misspoke or said something mildly embarrassing. Then he looked intensely into my eyes. He could always communicate so much with those eyes. I told him, "I know, Daddy. I know you love me." He smiled briefly with his eyes and then relaxed and went to sleep. I know with all of my heart that my humble daddy is whole and healthy and spectacular now with our Lord. But the little girl in me keeps asking, who is a daddy's girl when her daddy isn't here anymore? The answer is, she's still daddy's girl. Still the pride and joy of the man who sat and watched cartoons with her when she was little. The man who taught her how to use the land and its gifts to provide for a family. The man who taught her from his passion for farming as they toiled side by side. The man who bought her a horse on a whim because he understood her love for them. The man who watched and coached her in horsemanship as she rode countless circles in the makeshift arena, also known as a resting cornfield. The man who sat on the porch with her in the evenings, snapping beans or shucking corn and talking of his life, sharing his wisdom with her. The man who showed her by example just how important family is. The man who taught her to shoot, hunt, and respect the nature from which we took our sustenance. The man who was there for her talent shows and horse shows. The man who taught her animal husbandry and how to drive a truck just enough to navigate a hayfield. A man whose life and even seemingly his appearance was changed when he surrendered his heart to Jesus. These precious memories and so many more will continue to reassure her that she is indeed still Daddy's girl. And she eagerly awaits the day he greets her in heaven with a warm welcome home.